Folks, it's time to talk about Andy Ngo. He was brutally attacked, nearly murdered by Antifa, doing undercover, on-the-ground reporting into their nefarious activities. And we're also going to talk about Tim Pool's garbage take on Twitter, where he basically blames Andy Ngo, the victim, for getting brutally beaten by Antifa. One of the worst takes that I've ever seen in my life. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious. And today, on the internet, we're going to be talking about Andy Ngo, Tim Pool, and the state of modern journalism. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard about the attack on Andy Ngo. He was undercover, working inside Antifa, working on his book that he's writing, Unmasked, Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy, in which he exposes the radical Marxist agenda of Antifa. So he's writing this book, and to do research, he was working on the ground, doing some real reporting, getting us the inside scoop, the real information at one of the biggest threats to our American, republic. Literally our country. We're gonna talk about all of that and more. But before we do, please remember to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, smash that bell button, and please share this video. It is more important than ever that you share work you support in order to get the word out there, because we're living in nefarious times, folks. We're being censored by big tech. You think Twitter, you think YouTube, you think these platforms care about us? No, they want us gone. They want us silenced. Do not give in to their censorship. Share the video. I'm also going to give the channel, Keto and Crime, a quick shout out. If you are a subscriber to Keto and Crime, you can find them by clicking the link in the description. This person's channel was hacked. I like to support the community. It looks like it was a crypto hack. I just want to say to the person who runs this channel, be careful. Do not click any suspicious emails. Do not log into YouTube through your emails. If you are a subscriber to Keto and Crime, you can find them in the link down below. Now let's get right to the content, folks. Here we are with Andy Ngo on Twitter, in a tweet that has 26,000 likes, 1,700 quote tweets, and 8,600 retweets. Andy Ngo says, statement on May 28, 2021, Antifa assault. No journalist in America should ever face violence for doing his or her job. Yet on Friday, May 28th, Antifa tried to kill me again while I was reporting on ongoing protests and riots in Portland, Oregon, for a new chapter of my book, Unmasked, Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy. He says, I was chased, attacked, and beaten by a masked mob, baying for my blood. And I think he meant praying? Unless it was I don't know what that word is, forgive my ignorance. He says, had I not been able to shelter wounded and bleeding inside a hotel, while they beat the doors and windows like animals, there is no doubt in my mind I would not be here today. Their words and actions speak for themselves. And then he posts the following posts on Twitter, the following screenshots. And this is what really made me mad about Tim Pool and his garbage take. But first, we gotta look at these. Okay. Andy Ngo went undercover for Antifa, and in my opinion, he really should have hid his identity better. I would have worn a full-body mask. I would have been incognito. Dude, I have a feeling that I would get really into the role and be just like them. Yeah, socialism. Screw getting a job. We should just open the borders, man. Here the first screenshot says, looks like meat is back on the menu, boys, in response to a post exposing Andy Ngo. So this is a call to violence. Let's make that very clear. Vinny Testarolo, at Vinny Testarolo, is calling for violence against Andy Ngo. It's called a veiled threat. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. Where's that from? That's from Lord of the Rings. It's from when the orcs say, oh, we're gonna eat people again. Meat's back on the menu. It's a threat. It really is. Let's look at this one. Don't worry about martyrs being created from cancel culture. Andy Ngo needs to go, one way or another, says J. Rawl, at J. Rawl. Here's another one, at USVS Bullies. Andy Ngo is at the Nines Hotel right effing now, telling everybody where Andy Ngo is. It's hilarious that his at is us versus bullies. Who's the bully? Are we the baddies? What do all of these posts mean? Because they all sound like threats, and Twitter is allowing them on their platform. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Now this brings us to Tim Pool and his garbage take. I really trashed him for this, and I'm about to trash him some more.
But wait! There's more! 'cause this one's a screamer!
Tim Pool posted the following tweet on Twitter, and he says, "What purpose was served by trying to infiltrate Antifa? Some journalists can't cover certain topics. Women were barred from reporting from to here by some outlets due to violence against women specifically. This was pointless and unbelievably stupid." So notice how Tim Pool insults Andy Ngo, a man doing real journalism. Quite unlike Tim Pool, who simply sits in his $1 million mansion, sipping on lattes and ramune from the safety of his own home, reading internet articles. It really makes me angry. Tim Pool is on the internet blaming the victim of political violence. Andy Ngo is not at fault. He was doing journalism. Real journalism. You know, the thing you used to do a long time ago. And now you're going to sit there on your high horse. But what was even worse than this tweet was Tim Pool's video. First, I want to read what he said in response, though. Like down below, he said, "Andy going into the fray with no security and no plan is not reporting. It's a tribal spectacle. I was barred from reporting places, and I refuse to support journalists purposely escalating risk and danger." Wow. This really shows you what kind of person Tim Pool really is. It's sick. It's very sick. Let's go over to, let's look at I want to read you a response. This is Elias Schaefer. He's a reporter for The Blaze. He says, "Look, I have had a hard time reporting for similar reasons. It's dangerous. I've been jumped multiple times and worse. I still do it. Nobody tries to get hurt. It's really traumatizing. The end goal of exposing the truth, assumes the risk. Accusing Andy of a reality TV spectacle? What the F? What the F?" Let's look at Tim Pool's video. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna waste your time. Okay? But he made this video. Andy Ngo confirmed to have been attacked by Antifa in Portland. Ngo calls on police to stop Antifa. You can see here that he has 4,800 dislikes, 15,000 likes. Okay, that's kind of a lot of dislikes. And in this video, he says something that really, really pissed me off. He said, "A lot of people said I had a bad take. I don't have a bad take. I'm right." The arrogance, the absolute arrogance of such a statement. He thinks he's right about everything. He thinks he's always right. He sits on this moral high horse from the safety of his mansion, insulting a real journalist. Most of the comments under this video disagree with him. In fact, I have the #1 comment on this video, Mr. Obvious, and I got 7,600 likes. That's a lot of likes, folks. That is half as many likes as this entire video. This is what I said. "You had a really garbage take on this on Twitter. You basically blamed Andy Ngo, the victim of political violence. Andy Ngo is a lot braver than certain people who stay at home and read internet articles all day." Yeah, this is what I said, and a lot of people seem to agree. You have way more comments who disagree. Overly Critical Gamer says, "Tim Pool, stand up for your principles, but not like that." RT Kuno says, "This is the guy who rants all day about people being cowards? Talk about projection." R. Scott says, "Tim Pool to Andy Ngo. You're not doing journalism." He said this from a desk in his skate park mansion. Look, I could go on, but when you have a garbage take, and literally everybody in your own viewership calls it a garbage take, maybe it's a garbage take. I don't think that's crazy, right? I don't understand what kind of narcissism and what kind of superiority complex you must have to disregard so many people. This was a bad take, it really was. Andy Ngo was doing real journalism, doing real research on the ground to get real information. Journalism is about exposing the truth. And you look at Tim Pool's Twitter account, and what does he call himself? He calls himself a journalist. Really? So you're a journalist that condemns journalists who are victims of violence, who should not be? You don't blame Antifa, you blame Andy Ngo. Andy Ngo was wearing a short skirt. She was asking for it. Oh yeah, okay. That's not a horrible way to look at the situation now, is it? Look, I get it. People have personal responsibility. Yeah, it's true. But that doesn't make the attack right, and it doesn't make Andy Ngo wrong. It's a trash take. An absolutely trash take. Andy Ngo is a hero. He's a real journalist. Oh, but Mr. Obvious, you're the real coward because you don't show your face. Why don't you show your face on camera if you want to talk bad about Tim Pool? He's God. I worship him on an altar. Oh, okay. Yeah, Mr. Obvious doesn't want to show his face because he doesn't want to get doxxed, because he doesn't want to be attacked by left-wing lunatics. I'm sure the day will come when I get doxxed. It is inevitable on the internet. And when it does, maybe I'll show my face. But until then, I do not want to be a victim to political violence. So no, it's not the same at all, because I never said I was a journalist. I'll be honest, I've done a lot of better reporting than like 90% of journalists today. I've gotten people information way ahead of the curve. Who was the one who called it a pandemic? COVID was a pandemic in January. That was me. Tim Pool didn't do it until much later when the mainstream media said, we're in a pandemic. It's official. Yeah, okay. Great journalism. Great journalism. You can say whatever you want about Andy Ngo, but at least he's on the ground. At least he's doing real work, bringing us the truth. And it really makes me mad because I feel like Tim Pool's one of the biggest hypocrites on the internet. Always calling everybody a coward. Who's the coward now? I wanna read some of Andy Ngo's tweets, and we're gonna wrap this up. Andy Ngo says, Antifa wants me dead because I document what they want to stay hidden. The attacks against me and threats on my life are retribution for work as a journalist, recording the tactics and true ideology of an extremist, clandestine movement that relies on deception and regards the truth as the greatest threat of all. They want the right to hide their identities behind masks and erase records of their arrests and alleged crimes. They want me dead for capturing these things and reporting on them, but it is the right of every journalist, protected and preserved by the founding fathers, to report freely without fear. I was forced to flee my home in Portland last year as the death threats escalated, but returned recently to take care of my elderly family. When I engaged in field reporting for my book, I did what every beat reporter would do. I took care to mitigate the risks and went on to observe Antifa firsthand. During a demonstration at the Justice Center, like many other journalists, Antifa has tried to silence and intimidate through violence and threats. I had to cover my face and eyes to do my job and stay alive. As the Asian son of Vietnamese immigrants, I also have to be mindful of Antifa's attack on multiple people of East Asian origin. Andy Ngo is a hero. Tim Pool, I think you're out of touch. I think you seriously need to consider retiring, because soon, and I think sooner than you think, I think people are getting aggravated with you. I think they're getting tired of listening to you rant day after day about yourself and how you're always right and how you're better than everybody else. You literally admit in your video that if you had known Andy Ngo's identity, you would have exposed his location and him. Vigilante the Wolf says, Tim admitted to not being trustworthy. Maybe the entire reason he was kept in the dark was because Andy didn't want the flood of attention while he was in the early stages of recovery. And there still is a worthy story here, even if it does center on Andy. Antifa is composed of bloodthirsty lunatics intent on killing someone, reporting on them, and the people of Portland are apathetic towards the victim. That's a big deal. Tim basically said it himself, that if he had known about Andy Ngo being undercover, he would have exposed him. He would have exposed him in some naive, self-righteous act that, oh, well, I'm helping Andy Ngo by exposing who he is. Because this is nonsense, and he shouldn't be out there doing real reporting. He should start a podcast and talk over all of his guests. It's sickening. It's so sickening. Oh, and by the way, Tim Pool, he talks all this trash about Andy Ngo and about why it's not real journalism and about how he's the real journalist, and whining. But guess what? He still made a video about it. He still made money on it. So he doesn't want to go on the ground and do real reporting, but he's going to trash the guy who does the real reporting, and then he's going to capitalize on the guy who got beaten doing real reporting by making a video and making more money. Oh, man. Oh, and you should really think about where you're giving your money to, who you're giving your money to. Think very hard whether certain people deserve that money, and maybe support real journalism like Andy Ngo is doing. Hey, and maybe me. Got no ads. It's all viewer support. See you all next time. I'm out.